1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, Natty make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. How you guys doing? I hope your week's been. I came in there real bubbly right there. Because I was like, if you guys follow me on Instagram, as you should, you know that I post like the clips from this podcast. And I've had video, but today I'm not doing video for personal reasons. I just was like, as I'm about to get into it, I'm starting a new job here. I was just like, this is going to be a lot that I'm just going to put on my plate when I'm making this transition. So no video. Well, you'll still get posts on Instagram as you do every day. I post every day. You'll still get posts, but just not. You're not going to see my pretty face. You're not going to have just anyone to hold. You're not going to let my love go to waste. I want you and your beautiful soul, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 114, ladies and gentlemen. We're calling this bad boy the Wolf Pack. Ooh! So you know I had to... tell them. The bad boys of wrestling, yeah. All right, turn it off. Turn it off before they shut this whole fucking thing down. We all know what happened to the Babylon 5 podcast Facebook page. I played way too much of that Weezer album, and they fucking took down the Babylon 5 podcast Facebook page. We're not gonna do that here. I don't know if the laws have changed. But I remember when I was a little boy, we used to, as I told you guys, I went to a computer school. I didn't know as a child that every other school, that they weren't doing the exact things that we were doing at my school. It's a little school called A.E. Burdick, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't realize that everyone else wasn't also doing the exact same things. I assumed school was school. You understand what I'm saying? But as I'm saying is like, back in those days, I, did video editing, did editing with music. We did remixes. I remember in 6th grade was one of the assignments was to make a remix. Whatever the fuck that meant at that time to us. We all just made terrible mashups. My point being is that we were told that legally we could only use up to about 10 seconds of other people's copywritten material. I think it was like 10 to 15 seconds, and I usually try to cut it off right before we get to 10 seconds. Let's not play any games here before niggas come at me like, hey, bruh, that was 10.2. You're going to need to run that. All right, you got 20 listeners on Podbean. We're going to need you to run that check of 25 cents, I hope. What do plays get you if we're talking about streams? You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about streams, what do streams get you? I remember there was some guys talking about how there's like platinum rockers talking about like a $300 check they got for their streams, for millions of streams. What are streams really worth? You know what I'm saying? What are streams really worth? So I can only play that little bit there of the Wolf Pack. This episode 114 is called Wolf Pack. As you guys know, I'm on the bandwagon, right? I'm a huge Khamzat Chimaev fan who is returning to action this upcoming UFC 267 live from Abu Dhabi Fight Island. So I'm hype. I'm hyped for Kamzat Shemaev, ladies and gentlemen. And as I told you guys, I gotta spray my nose. I felt that dryness coming, ladies and gentlemen. Felt a little dry. You know what I'm saying? But as I was saying, I'm not doing video work today. I quit my job, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I could cue out the special effects, get some applause in there. Got some CBD. I just wish I could, if I was smart there, I would have queued up an applause. But I quit my job, ladies and gentlemen. All right? I quit my fucking job. Oh, that CBD be hidden.
What's up, y'all? Chase Rice here with Mountain Dew. Check out my new music video.
I tried to queue up some applause. And here came a Mountain Dew ad, is what it was. And then here came another ad. So I was about to... I'm a big fan of CBD. Let's see what this sounds like. I quit my job, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I quit my fucking job. All right? I quit my fucking job. I saw a meme that said, let's normalize quitting your job for happiness. And the wheels were already in motion before I saw that meme, but I was like, that's perfect fucking timing, because I just quit my fucking job, ladies and gentlemen. But as I said, it's not like I was just like, fuck you niggas, with no plan. I said I'm starting my new job tomorrow. Got orientation for my new job tomorrow. But, yeah, I was like, it's actually a job I guess I technically didn't have this job, according to what niggas is saying. And it didn't pay as much as this one pays now. So it's a place that I've worked before. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm back with responsibilities. Back, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Back, ladies and gentlemen, but this time with responsibilities. Yes. Where am I working? It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. If you see me, say, hey, Jermaine. Or call me JJ. Niggas call me JJ at work. Because you know how white people be having problems with Jermaine? You know what I'm saying? White people be struggling with Jermaine. I feel like I must have addressed it here many times. But white people be struggling with Jermaine. I already assume, I should just tell them my name is Jerome. Off the top, either Jerome or Jeremiah. Because the next time they see me, Jermaine is not what's coming out of their mouth. 80% of the time it's Jerome. 15% of the time I get a Jeremiah. And then 5% of the time you get the real ones. They're like, oh, what up, Jermaine? They remember. Because I just told them my fucking name. It's not like if you motherfuckers say, hi, I'm Sarah, I'm like, oh, shit, Sacagawea next time I see her. Just some fucking random S name. Just some random fucking S name. All right. Jermaine is not that foreign, I would say. Jermaine, from what I've heard from some people, is like Irish or Scottish. I think it's Irish. I think my last name, my government name, Henderson, is Scottish in origin. You know what I'm saying? But I think Jermaine is like an Irish name by origin. I don't really know, but motherfuckers, as I'm saying, if you see me in the streets at work, tell them you don't know me. No, just, call a nigga JJ. Because I know people struggle with Jermaine. I'm saying that now like my stage name isn't Jermaine Event. It's funny, my boy Mark, shout out to Mark. Mark hit me up on Instagram the other day, right? And was like, holy fuck, I never got, like, he never got the pun of my name until I think he, like, just said it out loud and was like, oh, he said he always referred to me as Event. And he always referred to me as Event, not Jermaine, by the way. No, he calls me Jermaine to my face, but he always referred to me as Event, he said, when he would talk about me, like, amongst people. But then when he said Jermaine Event out loud, he was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I was like, that's hilarious. Shout out to Mark. But, yo, people struggle with Jermaine. If you see me in the streets, call me JJ. But getting back to, I quit my fucking job, ladies and gentlemen. Yes! I said I'm done with this shit. I'm done with you niggas. I'm out of here. You don't appreciate shit, niggas. I tried to turn it off right there with that. Appreciate shit, niggas. Nah, I had to get out of there, man. My co-workers, and I use the word workers fucking loosely, man. You know, it was just like no work ethic at all by the people who were like my co-workers. We had one, like when I started there was the person that trained me was phenomenal. She's great worker, the best. Unfortunately, for me, I would say, unfortunately for me, she went on maternity leave. So we had like the best worker. I'm getting pretty good at the job. Where it's like if we have me and her there, we basically don't need any of these extra ass lazy people that are just there. That are just fucking there. Lazy. Not doing shit. Just staring at their phone. Talking about Instagram. These motherfuckers over here ain't doing shit. So once she left for maternity leave, and it's just me taking on the fucking lion's share. You know what's interesting is all these extra people weren't there. I've worked there longer than all these extra people that I was annoyed by. But they weren't there. And when homegirl went on maternity leave, they just, like, for whatever reason, felt like they needed to bring in a fuck ton of, like, random buddies that used to work elsewhere at the same place, but not that job. No experience at all in the job that they're bringing them in to do. And they refuse to be trained. These motherfuckers refuse to be trained. And, like, just fucking up every day. Fucking up every day. So that when other people who work there, when they need to get shit done and they call and these people are there, they ask to talk to me. They don't want the other people who do the job so shitty. They don't want them to do what they need done because they know it's going to be done wrong. They know these people don't give a fuck about their job. They don't give a fuck about doing their job. These people knew that. The other people that we're working with. And that's fucking crazy to me. Because then why aren't you guys stepping in? You know, I saw some crazy shit. Some real dangerous shit working there. It's crazy. I've worked for, like, real companies. And, you know what I'm saying? And like, no disrespect to that company. But I've worked for real companies. And it's like, dude, like 90% of these people would have been fired from the shit that I've seen going on in there within, like, the first 2 weeks that I was there. I'm like, dude, half these people, like all these motherfuckers would be fired. Fucking riding pallet jacks like fucking skateboards all day while the owner's there. I've never seen anybody, like, forklift certified, but, like, you got, like, 17-year-olds driving these fucking forklifts super fast, just honking the horn Like, not slowing down, stopping so people can get out of the way, just slamming on the horn, going as fast as they can. I'm like, yo, this is the wildest shit I've ever seen. And you got the management, you got the owners there. While this shit's happening. And they're just letting it happen. Like, it's like, fuck, these people are sitting here not working all day. Just sitting here gossiping about nonsense. Not working in front of our bosses. And nobody's stepping in. They're bringing in people who don't work in here to hang out in the office. Where there's cash being brought in, there'll be cash sitting around. Motherfuckers are coming in where I'm like, yo, she's bringing in $4,000 of cash. Like, so when you see this person, just make sure that, like, they're going to hand you $4,000 in cash. And it's like they just bringing in random people who don't work here to just hang out in the office. Owners here, managers here, ain't nobody saying shit. I'm the only person that seemed like was uncomfortable in the whole situation. I'm sitting here like, get this nigga out of here. This nigga don't even work here. Then they take the nigga out into the warehouse to distract workers. I just see workers and other co-workers, if you will, walking around just having a good-ass conversation. Ain't nobody working. So you can't have my ass in there. It'd be one thing if they was doing this bullshit and nobody noticed. It'd be one thing if they was doing this bullshit and nobody noticed. And they was just finessing. But it's out in the open that niggas ain't even working. And they're getting rewarded for it. It's weird. Like, right away, I'm telling you, like, I started this job. And it was pretty easy for me to do right away. To the point where they had me, after 3 weeks, they hired a new employee. And I'm the person training this new employee. I was like, I've only been here 3 weeks. What are you doing? I've worked here 15 days. I've been, 15 scheduled days that I've been here. And you guys are having me train somebody already. First person they have me train could barely read. All right? Barely read. Mind you, this whole job is like, you need to read, man. It's on a computer. You need to read. This person can barely read. And I'm seeing that. And I tell them. And at one point, this person, because they can barely read, as they're trying to do the job, and I'm trying to walk them through it, they're repeatedly, like, not able to do anything I'm asking them to do because I'm seeing that they're struggling. I can see as I'm sitting there with them what the issue is. But everybody else in the office that isn't sitting there with this person, they just see that, like, I'm repeatedly telling this person the same thing over and over again. And this person can't seem to retain any information. And I don't know if the people in the back are laughing or making jokes about this person, but I know even before this person started working here, they'd be sitting back there just talking amongst each other, cracking jokes, just shooting this shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do at the back of that office around that time, even before that person started working there. But as she's repeatedly, she can't read, you know what I'm saying? She can barely read. And as she's struggling to do anything and not really retain any information, like she's looking at the screen, and I watch her go over a certain thing that she needs. Like, I'm like, dude, click that. But she'll, like, go over it, like, with the mouse, like, do this fake squint I'm reading thing, and then just go over to the next thing. And I'm like, and then just repeat this fake squint thing. And I'm like, she has no idea what's on this screen right now. And so I have to keep correcting her. People are in the back having conversations. They're laughing, as I said they always do. I don't know if it's in regards to her or just whatever fucking conversation they're having. But she takes that as, I feel like they're laughing at me. I don't mean to do that fucking, I'm going to cut that accent out. I try to like, that's like dead ass what she sounds like, but I feel like it's coming off mean if I do it that way. So like, I'm not in any way. It's just that she couldn't read, you know what I'm saying? And this is just exactly what what her voice sounds like. But she said she was like, looks at me, she's like, I feel like they're laughing at me. And honestly, my niggas, when she said to me, I feel like they're laughing at me, I'm sitting there like, nigga, so? Like, that's what's in my head, nigga, so? What the fuck do what they laughing or talking about, what the fuck does that have to do with you, nigga? You need to do this job right now. Fuck them. That's what's in my head, is so? But, like, I'm sitting here trying to train this woman, noticing that she can barely read. And I'm sitting there like, fuck, I don't even know what to say to her. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I feel like they're laughing at me. I'm sitting there like, nigga, I feel like you shouldn't be saying this shit to me right now. I don't give a fuck. And I don't mean to be mean like that. But even if the niggas was laughing at me right now, you know what I'm saying? Even if they was back there fucking cracking jokes about me, nigga, if I had an issue, if I felt like there was an issue, I'll take that up with HR. But otherwise, nigga, I'ma just do my job. Especially if I feel like they're making fun of me because somebody here has to tell me literally the exact same thing like 10 times repeatedly. And they're hearing that I'm not retaining information. And I hear people laughing in the back, and I'm like, ugh, I feel like they're making fun of me. And the response to I feel like they're making fun of me is that woman there from then on out refused to be trained. I go to management. I'm like, yo, she's like, she feels like y'all are making fun of her. And I'm like, to be honest with you, bro, I feel like there's quite a few barriers there that would prevent her from being successful in this job regardless of who you guys get to train her. Because as I'm telling you, I'm seeing that she can barely read. They take that information. They get me away from training her. Mind you, I didn't know what this, like, she said the whole, like, she refused to be training. She refused to do the training. And she was just like, no, I'm done. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to work. And if I feel like I need your help, then I'm going to ask you. Right? She doesn't want to be trained anymore because she's failing the training. She's doing a poor job of the job in training. So she then refused to train. So I tell them, yo, she doesn't want to do this anymore, and she's not listening to anything I'm saying. And I'm saying, like, yo, there's all these barriers. I don't think she can do this job in general. So they move her with this other guy. He's fucking, like, yelling at her. Like, he's just like, oh, my God, you're stressing me out. Like, listening to her trying to do the job because she has no idea what's going on. And I know that she can't read. But I'm just, like, not saying anything because I'm like, dude, I don't understand. Like, I'm saying, like, now that other people here that have worked here longer are working with her, and they can see that she can't read. Like, clearly they're not going to let her continue to do this job because she can't read. And now they let her keep the job because she was willing to work late. And regardless of her, like, every day I'd come in and it'd be like, yo, I spoke to some girl last night. She seemed really confused. And, like, now all this is fucked up. And I'm like, yeah. I'm very sorry. This person has no fucking idea what they're doing. But it blew my mind that with that being such a constant, that person was allowed to keep that job in that position, fucking up repeatedly, daily, because they were willing to stay there late, even though they couldn't accurately do the job, and nobody ever stepped in and say, "Yo, this is fucked up." Then they bring in more people, tell me to train these people, because the first person they brought in refuses the training. So they bring in someone else and they don't get rid of the first one. The second person they bring in then refuses the training. What do you think happens there? Nothing. It doesn't affect this person's job. They're allowed to keep working there. And what do you think happens? They bring in this person's family member, this person's sister, who then does not get trained. And I remember I asked this person, like, "Yo, man, do you know what you need to do in the window? Like, have you ever been, like, trained? Has anybody, like, showed you anything?" She's just like, "Why?" Right? Why? That was the response I get. When I'm asking, like, "Yo, have niggas trained you on this shit? Has anybody showed you anything? Has anybody shown you anything?" She's like, "Why? Why are you asking?" "Cause nigga, we at work, and it seems like you ain't doing shit all day. I didn't train you. They tried to make me train everybody else, and when you came here, nobody said anything, and it looks like nobody's trained you. And it looks like you're not doing anything." And then we come to find out, like later that day, somebody asked her, or maybe it was earlier in the day. I got it backwards. Somebody asked her something simple, like if she was doing something real simple that we're all expected to do, and she's like, "Oh no, I don't have access to that, and I don't have access to this or that." Like pretty much everything she was supposed to be doing, nobody showed her shit. Nobody trained her. Like, and she been coming there just getting paid, doing nothing the whole time. And I'm sitting there seeing it, like, it looks like she's doing nothing. And when I ask, like, "Yo, has anybody showed you?" And she's like, "Why? Why?" Why, nigga? Why don't you just do the work? Why don't me, Jermaine, just do all the work myself? I'm asking, like, "Yo, man, has anybody shown you this? Why, nigga? When you could just do all the work yourself." So I quit my fucking job. All right? I quit my fucking job. Back to the old spot. Pre-COVID spot. Had to get up out of there. I was scared last time. I remember pre-COVID, I was like, it ain't nothing but old people up in here. And ain't nothing but old people in here, and I didn't know what was going on with the COVID. It was like mainly old people were dying at first. So I was like, fuck, I can't work here. That was like one of my motivations to leave, along with some other shenanigans that were going on. Just straight up shenanigans. But I'm back, and I'm out of that fucking place. You know, it's just like no accountability for all these fuckboys just sitting there doing nothing, refusing to be trained. And I'm like, yo, the nigga said nah. I was like, yo, bro, you probably want to do, and nigga just smiled at me. Ain't do shit for 2 hours. I'm like, I just watched this nigga just sit there do nothing, looking at his cell phone for 2 hours. Nigga ain't doing nothing. Don't affect niggas' jobs. I was like, this is done. This is done. How y'all expect to, man, y'all be, that place is crazy. That place is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting, because when I first started working there, I heard that these two niggas that work in the warehouse, they got into a disagreement. They ain't like each other. They've been building up. So finally, the niggas just punched out Went out to the parking lot and fought. Came back, went back to work. I ain't understand that shit had probably just happened. It had just happened right before I started working there, apparently. Because the one nigga eye had an infection in his eye. And it was like going on for weeks. I think if it finally cleared up. But it was there for weeks. Like it'd be like real pussy. It'd be like some white dot, like a pimples and shit. Like, it looked nasty. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but somebody that was just like how I knew him. Was he had like an eye infection? That's just how I knew him when I started working there. And after like a month or some shit, 2 months, somebody's told me that like his eyes been like that since the fight. And I'm like, well, since the fight? That shit just happened? Y'all telling me this nigga just punched out and went and fought in the parking lot? Like, this place is the Wild West. You got old ass fucking drivers. There's fucking these old ass drivers, man. At a real company, like 85% of these drivers would have been fired for sexual harassment. The shit that I hear them saying to these women that work there, it's wild. It's wild. And they like kind of like trap them. Like how this shit is set up, they like kind of just they trap these women in these fucking conversations. It's crazy. And at any real company, these people would have been fired. These people would have been fucking fired, man. And I realize I've been babbling here for about 30 minutes here. And I didn't tell you guys that if you want, you can follow me at Babylon5 Podcasts on Instagram and Twitter, that it is. You can follow my personal accounts at My Name's Jermaine. You could email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean. You can follow this podcast on Podbean at Babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast, as I said, on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcasts stream. And if you guys are on Xbox, go ahead and add me at SauceBoss414. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and cop some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And don't just be my Negroes, be my patrons. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5pod. I realized just right there, I was like, damn, I must have felt some type of way about quitting this job. I'm like 30 minutes in. I'm like, damn, I only wrote a couple notes. Like, I thought I was going to quickly say I quit my job and then go on to some other shit. But I'm like, damn, it's been 30 minutes, nigga. Nigga, you been on that rant for 30 minutes. You been babbling. And fucking babbling. My bad. But yeah, I did quit that fucking job, man. Man, it's just a weird place, man. Just the way everybody there talks like that Charlie Barron's guy, that old mover out, that Minnetonka Minute guy. They all talk like that guy, which is pretty interesting. I mean, fuck, man. There was some cool people that worked in that spot that I was at, but like, I needed the management to just get in there. You're fucking raising Hitler. That's how I felt. Because, like, it's nuts to me. I would be like, I remember that person I was training, I was saying initially, just before I move on here. The first person they had me training, who could barely read and was doing the job terribly. There was always issues with this person. Anything this person did, like, they fucked it up. Like, every day there was just consistent issues, problems with this person. And I'm sitting here like, dude, the owner is going to see this shit because he's in there every day. Like, he's going to see this shit and, like, get her out of here. And then somebody else who's worked there longer was like, I wouldn't bet on that. And I'm sitting here like, nah, that's crazy because she's fucking up. And the owner, like, everybody else there is, like, praising me, giving me all these compliments for, like, picking up the job so fast. and being able to help them out. And meanwhile, this person is fucking up so bad. I'm like, dude, how are they keeping this person here? But then I would see, then this person would come into work. Finally, I seen the owner come in, and he came in and like hugged her, gave her a kiss on the forehead. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? Meanwhile, the nigga is usually cold to me. I remember sometimes I'd be like, oh, what up? Good morning, bruh. I'd be like, yo, good morning. And he'd just like look at me. Won't say shit back. But old girl who's fucking everything up comes in with the hug, kiss. I remember the nigga one time was on the phone FaceTiming, was like, this is my new girlfriend. That was super funny to him. And I'm like, yo, this is some crazy. I started hearing other shit. I was like, yo, there's some kind of nepotism going on. Right away with that girl, I was like, there's some crazy nepotism going on. And I was like, I'm not sure what the fuck is going on. But then as I started hearing more shit, it was like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Like this guy's son is fucking this guy's daughter, who's fucking best friends, whose brother is this guy, whose wife is best friends with this fucking girl, so her job is fucking safe. It's all kinds of shit like that, where I was like, this is fucking stupid. Doesn't matter that she can't fucking read. It doesn't matter that she can't fucking read. So I just had to get out of there. But perfect timing. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, we're going to, my wife and I, we're going to Denver for Halloween. As I always, you know, since my friend Andrea, my old roommate Andrea, when she moved away to Denver. As I was telling motherfuckers, like before then, I had never even been on a plane. And I just, you know, at that point, I was like, because niggas would be like, you've never been on a plane? It was like, I never had anywhere to go. I never knew anybody over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a young person, I never had a reason to go anywhere. And then my roommate moved from living with me to fucking Denver. So I was like, I'll check it out. And then, like, I started just, like, making that tradition of spending Denver, or spending Halloween. Well, actually, it wasn't a tradition, because I don't think I went to Denver the following year. I was the Big Bad Wolf, or actually, I think I went 2 years in a row, and then I didn't go that following year, because I think I was Mr. McGiblets, and then the Big Bad Wolf, and then I was the Big Bad Wolf in Milwaukee the following year. And I think that's how that went. But we're going back to Denver. My wife and I. Doing a Halloween thing. But honestly, man, the costume is up in the air. As I was saying, I was Big Bad Wolf, Mr. McGiblets. I'm all about my costumes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm all about my costumes. And it's just been mishaps. It was a bullshit-ass website. Tried to get this one Walking Dead mask where the way it was set up, I had bought this leather trench coat with it. Like, I bought the mask first, and it looked like, if you guys ever seen The Walking Dead, I didn't watch it up until this point, but I read the comics, so I was aware of the character. It's this guy named Alpha, and it's in the saga when they're fighting these guys called the Whisperers. If you've never seen the show, it's about a zombie apocalypse. Walking Dead are coming, and they'll eat you. And if they bite you, somehow that turns you into a walker, even though everybody's already infected with whatever it is that turns people into walkers. Like, everybody, no matter what, if you die, you're going to turn into a walker. But if someone that's already dead bites you, then you will slowly die from the bite of the infection of the disease that you already have. That's somehow what that happens. But the Whisperers are niggas that kill the zombies, skin them, take their skin and wear it, and just whisper to each other. They only talk in whispers, and they're able to just like walk amongst the dead people with the dead people's skin on, while wearing dead people's skin. And this mask looked like the fucking Beta, this character who was like second in command of this whole Whisperer group. It looked like his. So I ordered that. I mean, I got a couple other masks here that just weren't like, they didn't come ideal to what I was hoping they'd look like. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw this Walking Dead mask, I was like, yo, that's perfect. I'm gonna be Beta. That's a badass costume. And then it was like all this issues with, I checked the tracking. It was like it was already delivered. And I'm like, yo, it's not here. This never came. And then I contacted them. They were like, you're wrong. You need to check your tracking because it hasn't been delivered yet. It says it's going to be delivered like in 2 days. Or in like, it says it's going to be delivered tomorrow. And I was like, no, it's not. I sent them a screenshot saying where it says like from the tracking, it says it was delivered. And I was like, yo, this has not been delivered. Like, there's no, like, it says it was coming via FedEx. There's no note from FedEx, like, yo, sorry we missed you or anything. There's, like, nothing here. And they're just like, nope, you're wrong. It's coming on Wednesday. So Wednesday night comes, and I'm starting to hit them up like, yo, man, this package never came. You guys, I sent them a picture of the thing saying it was already delivered. They sent me back a screenshot saying this is proof. Literally saying, they said the words, this is proof that it hasn't been delivered yet. Of some different tracking number with the same mask saying that it was going to be delivered on Wednesday. So Wednesday night, and I'm like, yo, man, this shit never came. Like, run that refund. And they're like, nah, man. They didn't respond at first. Then, like, Thursday, they hit me back, and they sent me the picture of the screenshot I sent them on Monday, saying, you're wrong. Like, the package was not coming on Wednesday. And here's proof that it was delivered on Monday. I was like, y'all niggas fucking crazy. Y'all niggas is crazy. So I had to go hit up the bank. I was like, yo, cancel that shit. These niggas is jokers. They're playing fucking games right now. So that fucked up that costume. And then I decided to be a certain character from a movie, and I ordered a costume on Amazon, but when it showed up, and then my wife, like, she was having issues figuring out what she wanted to be, so then we figured out with my costume, we could do it together, and we both ordered the costumes, and yesterday I was like, babe, we should just try them on right now, just to make sure they fit, to give ourselves times in case they don't, and sure enough, they didn't. Like, the size chart was just not right at all. Like, it was like you couldn't, it was like a onesie, but like you could definitely not fit that shit like up over my shoulders. Like, I could not put that shit on my body. I needed like a much bigger size. It was saying like the larges were good for people like 6'2", and the one that I got was good for people like 5'10". You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, that's for me. Like, I'm like 5'9", if you will. And I'm like, that's the one for me. But that's the one for me. But it definitely did not fit. It had my Johnson out there like, hey, how you doing? It's the tightest thing. But it just wouldn't even. It was like I had it trying. I was like trying to pull it up, but it was like, I was moose knuckling. It was just skin. It was just like give myself this wedgie to try to just get my arm, somehow maneuver my arm, pin down, and get it into this thing before I rip this whole thing off my body. And then it was like all sheer. But so I don't know. We'll see what happens with the costume in Denver. We don't know where we're gonna be yet. We'll see. We tried to get some backup outfits. We'll see what happens, man. You guys will see pictures, hopefully, of whatever it happens. I'm bringing up my backup mask. Not too many comedy shows. I'm big on going to comedy shows. Me and the homies, we're going to go see the Denver Nuggets play the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to the Nuggets-Mavericks game. So that's going to be pretty cool. I think they said they're planning to wear their costumes to the game. So hopefully our shit is hopefully we have a costume by the time so we can wear a costume. Definitely going to wear this NBA champions hat to the show, to the game. Definitely going to wear that. And in the house of the reigning MVP, Jokic, Nikola Jokic, I'm 1,000% going to be wearing my Bucks hat. So yeah, I'm hoping for a good trip. I will talk to you guys about it next week. If I survive the trip, anything can happen. But, tell you guys about it next week. Let you guys know what the fuck went down. Man, if you guys have Netflix, season 3 of the show You just came out. It's a pretty weird show. I remember my last day at the job I just quit. One of the last things I feel like a bunch of the people would have heard me say was like this guy, like, he would talk to me about some TV shows and how, like, I was watching this last night and blah, 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 or I didn't get to watch any TV last night. And I was saying to him, like, oh, man, my wife and I are watching this show called You. And he's like, it's called You? Like, Y-O-U? I was like, yeah, it's called You. It's on Netflix. It's called You. It's about this guy who, like, stalks women. And then, like, work happened. And he's like, what? And I was like, wait, one second. And I had to do some shit. But then we all got busy. And, like, that was it. I never explained any more to him. But it's like, I was saying to my wife, damn, that's probably, like, the last thing a bunch of people in that office heard me say. Was like, yeah, I'm watching this show about this guy who stalks women with no explanation on it. Like, you guys gotta check it out. But You was pretty dope. Season 3 happened. Season 3 started, and it was just fucking amazing. My wife and I just, like, slowly binged through it, like, if you will, a slow binge. And it was fucking great. It started out pretty amazing, real entertaining, with his wife, his child. It was pretty dope. And then all of a sudden it got real weird, and I was saying, like, yo, this is fucking weird. Like, I don't know where you guys are going. I was just like, I guess I'm a prude these days, because I was just like, Ed's like, I don't want to spoil too much, but things were happening in, like, episodes, like, 6, 7, and I was like, yo, this shit's getting weird. Like, why are they going this twist? Like, I just didn't understand why they were going this route. It just seemed weird. And then, like, episode 8 happened, and I was like, oh, shit, all right, this show's cracking. Like, it just, like, flipped, and I was like, damn, I spoke too soon. This show is pretty phenomenal. So if you guys haven't seen the show You, like, I think it's pretty similar. It's in the vein of the show Dexter, which is coming out with a new season, like, in a week or two here, I believe. So it's pretty similar to, if you like Dexter, you'd probably really like You. I felt like when I first started watching You, it's just like every episode I was rooting against the main character, Joe. I'm just like, fuck that dude, lose. I want this guy to be arrested, because as I was saying, it's a show about a guy who stalks women. But there's also, like, murder aspects throughout this show. We're on season 3. As I was saying, it's in the vein of, like, Dexter. It's so I'm rooting. I was watching this show and I'm rooting against him, but it's just an interesting show, ladies and gentlemen. So I think you guys should check out You on Netflix if you guys haven't yet. Season 3 is fucking phenomenal. At the end of it, it says we've already been approved for season 4, and it's like, dude, I believe it. I believe if they saw this season 3, Netflix that is, they're like, yeah, you guys are coming back, because this season was phenomenal. It was a great season. And I'd say the most important thing for me personally, what I saw, was they ended the season, the last episode was ended with this song by Laura Cahen. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She's French artist. Just amazing music. The song was called La Poussière. Yeah, Poussière. And I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm terrible. I don't know French. She's got amazing music. I'm listening to Laura Cahen. And the music, everything is just like so entrancing. I don't know these words, but it's like I can't stop listening to this music. It's universal. It grabs you. You just, if you guys, like, man, if you love music, there's no way you will not love Laura Cahen. Like, Poussière, La Porte, and there's honestly so many others, but I'm like, dude, I'm going to just slaughter trying to say all these names. But Laura Cahen, it's Laura, and it's Cahen is spelled Cahen. If you guys are interested, all the music's phenomenal. All the music is phenomenal, and I'm so happy. I remember, like, I was, like, the last episode was playing, and then, like, I'm just sitting there, like, watching the screen, and I'm just like, oh, what is this? And I went to pull out my phone to Shazam it, and right away, like, right as I go to hit the Shazam, it, like, switched over to, like, a Shameless promo. I was like, what the fuck, dude? I want to know that song. I had to go, like, put the episode back and fast forward to the end just to, like, get that song. I was like, what is that? That is amazing. What was that sound? Whatever I was just hearing was amazing. And it was thankfully Laura Cahen, because her music's beautiful. Her music's beautiful. So if you guys want to fall in love with some beautiful music, check out Laura Cahen, French singer, and she's just, it's phenomenal music, man. Just phenomenal. Shout out to Laura Cahen. Shout out to you. Shout out to y'all. So we just had UFC Vegas 41, and headlined by Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori. So Paulo Costa, the fight was supposed to take place at 185, their middleweights, but Paulo Costa came in at 211, saying he could not make 185. And as I said, like, he couldn't make 185 is what he was saying. And as I said, like, I didn't expect Paulo to even make it here. I thought Paulo was going to pull out of the fight at some point. So when he came in, it was like, yeah, I can't make weight. I'm 211. Can't make 185. I was like, well, I didn't expect you to make it anyway. I didn't expect him to make it the fight week. But he somehow made it. And he's there. And he's like, I can't make it. And they agreed to move it to 195. Then, like, the next day, it was, like, agreed that they were going to fight at light heavyweight at 205. First, it was going to be a catch weight, 195, and then they moved it to 205. So it was like, yo, this is bullshit. But I became, like, more of a Vettori fan leading into this fight, because Vettori was, like, just, like, laughing. He's like, bro, I'll fight you at any weight class. Let's do it at heavyweight. Like, I don't care. So the fact that Vettori was so game to just fight him no matter what, like, he trained to come in and fight at 185, and it could potentially be a game of Costa to just come in heavy and just play that game of, yeah, I can't make the weight, let's try to do catch weight. And they moved it up 20 pounds heavier than what they were originally supposed to fight at. And Costa can make that. So there's that game where, like, did he plan this out? You know what I'm saying? Just to have that advantage. But Marvin Vettori was like, I don't care. I'll fight this man anywhere. I'll punish this man anywhere. And as I said to you guys last week, I said foolishly that this fight would not be a fight that casuals would enjoy. I didn't predict that casuals would enjoy this fight, but then it turned out to be a fucking war, ladies and gentlemen. This was a war. I know I said I was done scoring fights, but then yesterday I was scoring this fight solely because I was like, well, let me just know how I thought the fight went. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean I'm not. I think when I say I'm not gonna score it, it's like it does. The scores don't matter. I don't need to tweet them out. I see people tweeting out their scores, and it's like, who are you? You know what I'm saying? I could be anybody. You know, I could be me, and I could just decide whoever's in fucking the red corner, I'm gonna tweet that they won the round. 10-8 for that guy. Now next round, 20-16. I just keep doing that every time. What does it fucking really matter? It means nothing. I could be dead serious. You don't know if every time, like, whoever's tweeting out that kind of scorecard, if they're being serious. But it's not anyone's of our job, so, like, who the fuck cares? That's my point. But as I did see this fight, I did have it in the end 48-46 for Vettori. There was a point taken away from Costa after an eye poke. He warned him prior to the eye poke to watch his fingers. And then there was an eye poke. Costa tried to argue, like, no, you're not taking a point. But he took it. He tried to argue, like, no. And he was like, yo, you're not arguing. And and he took the point. But that was funny. But this was a fucking war, all right? This was a war. Like, Costa was definitely throwing bombs in there. And he was landing. He was landing these fucking bombs, especially in the fifth round. He was coming in here strong. It looked like he knew he needed a finish in the fifth, regardless of him saying he feels like he won the fight. I feel like he knew he needed a finish coming into the fifth. He looked great. I was happy to have seen this fight, man. I gained a lot of respect for both fighters. Honestly, before the fight happened, it was like I didn't really care too much for both fighters. And then with the weight shit and how game Vettori was to fight him at any weight class, I became more of a Vettori fan. I was rooting for Vettori to win this fight. And then after the fight, I'm like, both these guys are fucking badasses. All right? There's no hype trains in there. Like, if the question was maybe fucking for me, if the question for me was maybe Paulo's a hype train, because I felt like he hadn't performed well against people in their prime, that higher level of competition. He looked great in there. He lost, but he still looked good. He looked great in there. So, hype train no more, I would say. Where does he go from here? A lot of places. A lot of places for him to fight. I don't know who Vettori fights next. I say that's more shaky than anything, because you got Cannonier versus Brunson happening. I don't know who Vettori fights next. But if I'm Paulo, I'll fight somebody lower. If anything, you just want to get a win. You just want to bounce back. But he looks good. He looks good. They both look like fucking beast. All right? They both look like beast in there. I was very impressed, very happy to have seen those two fight. So shout out to both Paulo Costa and Marvin Vettori. Shout out to Vettori on the victory. It was a great fucking fight. So I just watched UFC Countdown like earlier before I recorded this, and I'm super hype for this card. This is a free card. If you live in the United States, you have ESPN Plus. It's a free pay-per-view. Free pay-per-view, if you will. Fight night. I say fight night because every pay-per-view I've seen has early prelims. And as far as I've seen with this card, there is no early prelims. This is just prelims and main card like a fight night. So you can call it UFC 267 and say it's a free pay-per-view for American fans. It's like, apparently if you're not in America, you have to pay for this like any other pay-per-view, which is weird. But for American fans, you can watch this pay-per-view for free, even though it doesn't have early prelims like every pay-per-view usually does. So that's interesting. But we got headlined UFC 267. I'm hyped. Headlined by Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira. And honestly, Glover Teixeira is dangerous everywhere, man. He's dangerous everywhere, and I feel like he very well could be light heavyweight champion coming out at the end of UFC 267. That's a very likely possibility. It's something I could see happening. All right? I could see that happening. But I am going with Jan Blachowicz to be and still at the end of that fight. I think he's just so smart in there. He's dangerous everywhere as well. Like, he and Glover are both dangerous everywhere. Glover's older, if I believe. I don't know, actually. Let me look at that. Because I feel like Jan's pretty old. Oh, yeah, Glover's 41. And Jan is 38. I was like, I feel like Jan's old. He is. He's 38. But Glover Teixeira is 41. He's looked great in his past few fights. But I'm looking at even like those fights where you looked good, and I'm like watching the highlights there in the countdown, and I'm like, man, he moves like an old man. And it's like he was whooping ass in those fights, but like he moves like an old guy fighter, you know? He moves like an old guy fighter, and my point is, when does he fall off? He's 41. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was improving when he was fighting at 40. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was improving. And I'm not saying like I don't know if he's over the hill. But I'm saying he's 41 and he moves like an old guy. Also, I feel like, so I think the X factor is just that Jan Blachowicz is just, he's going to be so smart, and what he does is he comes in there with a great game plan, and he sticks to that game plan. That's what's so great about Jan Blachowicz, is sticking to the game plan. And I feel like Glover Teixeira, ladies and gentlemen, isn't necessarily coming into this fight with the confidence of a champion who just defended his belt against a fighter in Israel Adesanya who most thought couldn't be beat until that point. Glover is coming in here with the pressure of knowing that this is his last chance. He even mentioned it in the countdown. He's coming in here with the pressure of knowing that this is his last chance. He said he's coming there and fighting knowing that this is it. This is the one last chance. He's putting it all out there. But I think Jan will be too much. You know what's crazy is, as I was watching the UFC countdown, I was typing out my notes for this, and then it pops up that, as I was typing the whole thing about Israel, it shows me that Glover Teixeira is training with Alex Pereira, the only guy to knock out Israel Adesanya in kickboxing, who makes his debut the following week at UFC 268. He's training with Glover Teixeira, and Alex Pereira are training together right now. I think that's pretty interesting. But regardless of that, I'm sticking with Jan Blachowicz. My pick is Jan Blachowicz. And still. Then we have interim UFC title fight. Petr Yan versus Corey Sandhagen. Nigga, god damn. God damn, nigga. This is going to be a great fight. Who am I rolling with? I have no idea. I don't know, bro. I honestly don't know. I'm going to make a pick on Saturday. I'm going to make a pick on Saturday when I post to Instagram. But I have no idea right now. I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, they're both so good, but just like in their styles are so different. It's like, who wins out? Jesus Christ. It's just a great fight right here. Petr Yan versus Corey Sandhagen. 5 rounds for the interim championship. And the winner gets fed to Aljamain Sterling. I'm a fan of Aljamain Sterling. But not like that. Like, I understand Aljo was losing that fight. You know, I'm realistic. I understand what was happening in that fight. But I'm so happy that Yan threw that knee. If I can be frank. So happy Yan threw that knee. Because we got and new. But I don't know who wins this fight, man. The fight with Sterling showed me that Yan is not a hype train. I was thinking like, dude, I saw Yan beat up Uriah Faber live in Vegas. I saw that fight. And I was like, this fucking bully. Like, yeah, you're young, you're strong. And he's beating up fucking Uriah Faber, who had came out. Who'd he beat? Like Ricky Simone with like a lucky punch. Like, yeah, I learned that punch from Song Yadong. Real hype about that. Then they put him in there against Yan, and he beat the fuck out of Uriah Faber. Then they put Yan in there with Aldo for the belt. And I was like, I don't agree with this. I don't agree that he should be in there with Aldo for the belt. Aldo just lost to Marlon. But they did that. So I felt like when he beat the fuck out of both of them, and everybody felt like Aldo had declined a lot at that point. He's looking better, he looked a lot better in his last fight, but he was very much in decline in that fight. So, you know, in my mind, it was a little bit like maybe he's a bit of a hype train, but in the fight with Sterling, it kind of alleviated all that, man. He was a monster in there, so he looks pretty amazing everywhere against Aljamain Sterling. This is crazy, man. Like, I felt like Sandhagen, in my opinion, should have gotten the nod over Dillashaw. I feel like he beat Dillashaw. Dillashaw is out with an injury after having surgery from what Sandhagen did to him. And that's why he can't fight in this fight. I feel like he clearly won that fight after beating the shit out of TJ Dillashaw. But this fight to me is accuracy and movement versus pressure. And Kryptonian-like fucking power. I think it's going to be a phenomenal fight. I just can't call it right now. I don't know, man. I would love to see Corey Sandhagen win the belt. I would like to see that. I think that would be hilarious if Corey Sandhagen... Like, it would be interesting to see Corey Sandhagen get his rematch versus Aljamain in a title unification. But it would also be very interesting to me. I think it would be hilarious to see Petr Yan go in there and lose and then not get his rematch versus Aljamain. That would be hilarious to me, personally. I would find that hilarious. So, I think that's the most interesting ending, but I don't know who's going to win that fight. I don't know. Then you got Islam Makhachev versus Dan Hooker, man. These are some fights. I was saying like, it's not a real pay-per-view, but Jesus Christ, they giving us fights like it's a pay-per-view. You got Islam Makhachev versus Dan Hooker. And obviously, I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev. It would be fucking cool if Hooker was able to pull off the upset, but I don't think he will. And it's like, as I tell you guys, every time I watch Hooker fight, man, I seen that nigga fight Barbosa live, and that always sticks with me. Like, that fight with Barbosa always sticks with me. Me kind of like, just grab my wife, and my wife don't be watching shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We sitting third row on the floor. We can see everything pretty close. You know what I'm saying? We're pretty clear. Like at one point, Anthony Pettis came and sat like a few feet away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like when his brother went and fought that day. But what I'm saying is like my wife usually don't be seeing shit like that. And Edson Barbosa was beating the fuck out of Dan Hardy. And that just always stuck with me. I'm sitting there like, yo, stop the fight, nigga. Nigga, stop the fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here calling for the ref to stop the fight. So that will always stick with me. And when I know how good Islam Makhachev is, you know, he's big Khabib, man. But with, like, I would say, I don't know about better striking. I think Khabib's striking is underrated. But he's got good striking. So I just think he'll win this fight. I'm going Islam Makhachev. And then you got Khamzat Chimaev, ladies and gentlemen. The return of Boers, ladies and gentlemen. Don't turn your back on the Wolf Pack. Oh, shit. You know, as I was saying there, let me cue up the song here, but we got Boers in action, ladies and gentlemen. Boers. You guys don't know who Boers is. Khamzat Chimaev. Boers. Yeah. All right. When I named this wolf pack, when we were younger, when I was a little boy, we would watch a lot of wrestling, and we would get the CDs sometimes with the theme songs from the wrestlers, and I remember we had one that had this fucking Wolfpack song on there, and like I don't know, like when I was a kid, I was into it, like don't turn your back on the Wolfpack. But like as I got older, I listened to it like, yo, this is a terrible song. It's terrible, but like it's so dope as far as nostalgia is concerned. But as I'm saying, we got the return of Boris. Khamzat Chimaev, it returns. He, if you're a fan of MMA, as you should be, then you know Khamzat recently had his battle with COVID. It was a pretty bad battle with COVID, pretty long battle with COVID. He retired from MMA because he felt like he was dying. There's a few fighters who have expressed this. They've thought they were going to have to retire from dealing with complications from COVID. And you had Khamzat posting pictures of all the blood he's hacking up into the sink and said he wants to thank all his fans, but he has to retire. He felt like he was dying. But thankfully, he is back, ladies and gentlemen. Khamzat Chimaev is back, and he is fighting Li Jingliang, knockout artist in Li Jingliang. And you already know what it is, ladies and gentlemen. You know I'm riding with my boy Khamzat. Until I see any reason to go elsewhere to ride with anybody else, it's Boers all day, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about that fucking Wolfpack. The bad boys of wrestling, and that's what's gonna be the X factor. Boers has the wrestling, all right. Khamzat Chimaev is the bad boy of wrestling. Just like as I was saying, man, you have Islam Makhachev, who's big Khabib. You have Khamzat Chimaev, who's bigger Khabib, but with better striking. Legit better striking than both Makhachev and Khabib. I think he's better than both. Everywhere. Like, with his wrestling, like, people were saying, like, oh, he doesn't really tie up the legs in the same way as Khabib. That's because he's fucking raining down damage. All right? He's raining down damage while he's got you on the ground there. He's not just wrapping you up and touching you. He's fucking putting down thunderous punches. That's what Boris does. And I think he's going to, like, Lee is definitely going to look to fucking try to knock this man out, as everybody should. But I think the wrestling is going to be there. I think the wrestling is going to be too much for Li Jingliang. So I'm going to go with Khamzat Chimaev for the victory there. And if you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can listen to this podcast, or you could follow this podcast at Babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. If you guys are on Xbox, go ahead and follow your boy at or add your boy at SauceBoss414. If you guys want to add me on Twitch, follow me at follow me on Twitch at sorry, ladies and gentlemen, follow me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys want to cop a t-shirt or two, go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And don't just be my Negroes, be my patrons. Be my patrons. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. It's been a pretty long episode. Pretty long indeed. I was like, usually I'm looking at the screen. I have my screen on right now, and I usually turn it off because I was like, if I have it on, then I'll be too much paying attention to the time, and the episodes are going to be too short. But here we are. I'm finally keeping the screen on, and it's like, damn, nigga, you babbling. You babbling, nigga. But here we are. Episode 114. It's the Wolf Pack, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. The Bad Boys. Yeah. Yeah. All right, yeah, that's what it is. Episode 114, Wolf Pack. Hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla. Wait, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Team make we chant down Vatican now.